So people really did flip out when I said that college is a white collar trade school. And they did lose their minds when I told them that I limited my children's choice of college majors. But what I can't believe is that there are people out there who, whether they are parents or teachers, who think that it's okay to let an 18-year-old out into this world with such little guidance. I mean, you may not be comfortable with, or you think it's wrong or too controlling to limit your children's choice of college majors. But then do you think it's okay to send an 18-year-old out into this world with such little career or financial guidance? Like at that point, at 18, they are going to be now making adult level decisions. So have you prepared them? Because like for me, when I started college in 1990, credit cards were a newer thing. So I signed up for credit cards. On every college campus, whether I was attending or I was visiting friends, there were tables everywhere for students to sign up. Now, back then the limits were like $300, $400, something like that. Obviously, I understood how credit cards worked, and I knew that it was basically a loan and I was going to have to pay them back, but I wasn't aware of like the financial and emotional disconnect you have when you use credit cards. And I was also very unaware about time and how quickly a month can fly by and the due date arrives. Of course, now as an adult, I've grown up, I've matured, and I know how to manage my money. I understand credit cards. But do you think I'm not going to teach this to my kids? Because my job is to teach my children how to manage their money in this world of credit cards and digital money now, like Venmo and all of these things. And it's my job as their mother to teach and guide them in whatever way I can. And so when it came to college, between what I know about how people develop and having worked with kids and young people for years at just a deeper, more emotional level, having seen how people navigate through adulthood, having navigated adulthood myself, watching my peers navigate adulthood, just knowing the more common struggles of people in their 20s, and then looking at the current state of the US college system and corporate America. I mean, especially with the US college system, I mean, think about the cost. I personally think that it is absolutely crazy then to not guide your children, to not talk to them about goals and expectations and what life is like. I think it's crazy to not prepare them for adulthood in every single area of life that you can help them with. Like, you're not going to do a perfect job. I did not. But now that I'm older and I can look back at my life and see what worked out, what didn't, what I would do different, what I'm glad I did. I mean, it's unfortunate and we don't get do-overs. We don't get do-over parenting our kids either. And so I spent a lot of time thinking about my early years of adulthood, what kinds of ideas and beliefs and things that I had and how it changed and what would I change if I could. I can't go back and fix or change anything, but I can share them with my kids. And one of the things I shared with them was that I'm going to limit their choice of college majors so that I can launch them into adulthood successfully, so that I could ensure that my kids were going to have an in-demand skill so that they could always get a good job and be able to support themselves. Now, with limiting the college majors, I mean, I guess like a lot of people, my husband, he did think I was crazy. He was certain that our kids were going to rebel when I told him what I was going to do and what I was going to share with them. But what's funny is that the common criticisms from back then, from him and other people, it's all the same kind of stuff I hear now. Things like, what about them exploring their passions? What about exploring their interests? How are they going to know what their passions are? You can't tell them what to do. What if they're not good or talented in the fields of the majors that you pick for them? What if they end up hating their jobs? You're so controlling. And then, of course, now when people find out that my children did end up earning full tuition merit scholarships to college, people become that much more irate. They get so upset and say like, how dare you tell them what to do when they are the ones who got that scholarship? And so let's walk through these criticisms. Okay, number one, what about their passions and their interests? I mean, okay, so the way that I see it, okay, when it comes to their passions and interests, the way that I see it, no one should have to pay crippling amounts of money to explore their passions or interests, especially at an age when they don't have any. I mean, having to pay large, huge sums of money, many times borrowed, to try different things to see what you are interested in. Like that, who encourages that? That is shady work. Like, how can you possibly get to know yourself and what you may be interested in when you're being limited by finances? And the financial burden alone is going to influence your judgment and your enjoyment of the process. The other thing is, like, people can have so many interests and passions. Like, why do they have to pick one of those in order to try to make a career out of it? They can't just enjoy it for what it is. I mean, none of that has ever made sense to me. On top of that, what happens if you develop a passion later on in life? Are you going to have to make a career out of that too? Life changes. I mean, life changes all the time, which I will promise you it will change. And here in the US, college costs can now college can cost for 4 years $400,000. There are more than a dozen schools which cost over $100K a year, and a lot more schools which cost like $90K. Okay, schools like Georgetown, NYU, USC. I mean, these schools have lost their minds. Okay, although I know that there are a lot of people who will joyfully pay full price for their kid to go there. But yes, there are cheaper ways to go to college. And I absolutely think that community college is a fantastic way to start your college career. And I think that young kids should go to school where they can reasonably afford and graduate with no debt or very minimal debt. But these costs are absolute insanity here in the US, okay? Like our student loan debt, it is pushing $2 trillion. And 25% of that, 500 billion of it, is held by 50-year-olds or older. Whether those loans were for their kids or for themselves or both, it's so crippling that they cannot retire. And think about how absolutely insane that is. I mean, I'm 53, I love my work, and I can't see myself ever retiring, but I also don't want to be forced to work full time because I'm trying to pay off debt. So like working full time is not even benefiting me. Like people can suffer mental health issues because they are not able to move on and they are just chained to their past. And so these are things as parents, but most importantly as adults, like we have to share with our kids. And we also have to think about ourselves and what we want for our life and what we want for our future and how we're going to get there. And one of those things that I think all of us as parents want is that we want to be able to launch our children successfully into adulthood, so that we can enjoy our own futures while we watch our children thrive. And so therefore, because the years are short, when you are paying college tuition, it is not a time to be exploring your passions and your interests. Because personally for me as a parent, if I am helping you through school, I'm not wealthy. Like I don't have the money or the time for that. Like there are specific limits on people's life chapters. Absolutely, take advantage of all of like the extracurricular activities and opportunities that a college campus offers. Like there's so much stuff to do there. Any interest you have, anything you've ever been curious about, any sport you've ever wanted to try, play, like go try it when you're in college. Like what other time in life are all of these interesting things available to you so easily? That's what I told my kids. So my kids, when they went to college, they played club sports, they played sports, they tried rock climbing, swing dancing, videography, tried the college radio station, debate, all kinds of clubs. Like I literally can't even remember all the things that they tried. And of course, they also spent time making good friends. But in my opinion, college is a white-collar trade school, and so you must graduate with an in-demand skill and have a job secured before you graduate, because once you graduate, it gets much harder finding a job. You see, that's more parental advice. Because I know that after graduation, if you go searching for a job, you are now competing with the skilled workforce. And so companies are going to want to see some years of experience. But how are you supposed to have years of experience if you've just graduated college? And that's because while you were in college, you were supposed to have internships and work experience. And so you have to get that job while you are in college because you are in a different hiring pool. And to be able to do all this, you have to pick a solid major. And so the college years are the time for you to make sure that you are equipping yourself with a high demand skill that is going to earn you money so that you have the freedom to go and learn about yourself, the freedom to go discover what your passions and your interests are. Okay? Number 2, you can't tell them what to do. Well, 1, yes, I can because I'm their mother and no one loves them as much as myself and their father do. But I don't just go around telling them what to do. Although I understand that there are parents out there that are not really good at communication or explaining things, but that's not me. I tend to over-explain and over-communicate. Being able to talk to my kids and listen to what they're thinking and to have conversations with them, it's literally one of the most enjoyable parts of my life. I also started these future college and career conversations when they were in middle school. I didn't just drop it on them when I handed them their high school diploma, which as a high school mom, I was actually the one who awarded and handed them their high school diploma. And so I told my kids, you are going to have my full financial support for 4 years. I am going to do everything I can to pay for those 4 years myself, even if I have to take out the debt. But after that, I have to focus on my retirement because I know that I'm not expecting you to support me in my old age, and who knows how long I'm going to live. And so if you were to decide to not go to college and then later on when you're 30, you decide that you want to go, I'm not going to be able to help you then. I'm going to be much older. I don't know where I'm going to be financially. I can't make promises about that. But for right now, I am going to commit to you just 4 years. Also, the other thing is, I told my kids, you have to be financially independent by 21 because adulthood costs a lot of money. And I don't have the ability and the finances to be able to financially support a whole other adult. I just don't. So I am not going to have the ability to be able to financially support you as an adult. As your mother, it's my responsibility to do everything I can to give you every advantage that I can afford to make sure that I launch you into adulthood with all the skills that you need so that you can provide for yourself as an adult. And once you are working and I know that you have the ability to take good care of yourself, then you can just go do whatever you want. You want to go play violin on the boardwalk for money? Go for it. You want to go be a professional gamer, streamer? Go for it. Be an actress, a dancer, a musician, an athlete. Whatever you want at that point, go for it. And so that's what I said to my kids. I want you to do whatever you want once you have the actual freedom to be able to make that choice. Because as an adult, you also have to have the ability to handle all of the ups and downs that come with such choices. If you want to be an actress, you have to have money to be able to get yourself out to LA, pay for housing, have food. While you're going out to auditions, and I know auditions do not pay for housing and food, then that's a problem. You're going to have to fix that problem. And so I told them that true adulthood did not start until they are 100% financially independent from me and their father. And I also told them that I wanted to see them live independently, not needing financial help, so that if I were to die, I would know that they were going to be okay. I wanted them to use their younger years to get themselves established while I was still around, so that if they were struggling, I would be here to help them and guide them. Establishing yourself in adulthood, it's hard and it's a lot. And it's something that many kids, many of us, I think we all know people who have stumbled at the beginning. And so it's nice if they have family support. And so when you have these kinds of conversations with your kids, you have to think about why you are bringing it up. What is it that you can do for them? Why is it for their benefit? Why do you feel this way? And then you have to be able to communicate it thoroughly to your children, to the point where in their immaturity and in their youth, they can understand that it is for their good. Number 3, what if they're not good or talented in the fields or the majors that you picked for them? Honestly, it's just a college major. It's really not that deep. You don't have to be good or talented at it. It's just a skill. You got to just make money. And when I say it's not that deep, most kids aren't even that passionate about learning and about going to college. Studying. You know how many of these kids cheat? I am literally just looking for a way to launch them. If they end up being terrible in their chosen career path, I encourage my kids, and I've told them, to see how you can pivot. What can you do to build on it? If you remember what I already told them, I told them that they have to have the ability to take care of themselves. And after that, that's when you go do whatever you want. Now, if you're saying like, what if your kid is not particularly strong in a subject? Like if they're not strong in math and science, like they're obviously not going to be able to pass engineering classes, which is absolutely correct. But that's why I homeschooled my children, and I made sure that their education was solid in every single subject so that they could ace any class in college. But if your kids are really weak in certain subjects, then it is your job to help them with career counseling, or to find them a career counselor, or to find them a mentor that can guide them to a career path that is going to provide a living wage. And also, it's not like I just threw them into the deep end of the pool without any knowledge of the world, like, or, of industries. Because I had these discussions with them when they were young, I made sure that they had interaction with people in these fields. Like, for example, nursing. Like, because nursing was one of the college majors that I liked, all 3 of my kids were hospital volunteers in high school. We also volunteered in senior citizen homes. We did that together as a family. And that's how both of my sons knew that medicine was not going to be for them. Okay. Number 4, what if they end up hating their jobs? I mean, honestly, I never expected any of my kids or any kid that I've ever worked with to like or enjoy their first job. That is a rarity, in my opinion. Even if a job it's like their passion, you guys know that in every industry, every entry-level job, they're terrible. Like, even if a kid is an entrepreneur and starts their own business, I've never known anyone who was thrilled with the grind at the beginning. Your first job is a launch pad into your career. It is your job to start working. It is your job to start adulthood, start maturing, start getting to know yourself, and start to understand how you are going to pivot and change and grow in your career. And you really can't do that unless you begin to figure out what you like and what you don't like. And you literally cannot figure out what you like and what you don't like if you're not actually trying and doing it. And if you expect anybody to stay long-term in a job, like, that's really outdated and irrelevant advice. Life doesn't work like that anymore. I mean, of course, there are some jobs like government jobs or maybe some teaching jobs where you stay in a field and you just hang on for 30 years because you're going to get a pension. But for the vast majority of us, it does not work like that. And so you have to be able to continually change and embrace the changing world. Like look at me. Like, do you understand that even 8 years ago, if someone had told me that I would be providing mental health therapy completely, virtually through a computer? Like, I'd used Skype a couple of times, but it was very glitchy. And back then I had never heard of Zoom. Or if you had told me that I would be sharing my ideas to millions of people online, I wouldn't have even had the ability to understand what you were saying. Not to mention that I would have just thought that you were crazy. Like, life changes so much and you have to continually pivot and change. And so with sending my kids to college, my goal was to give them a skill that no one could take away from them and that other people would want to pay them for it. And what they do with that, that is going to be up to them. Number 5, you're so controlling. I mean, yeah, so what? Like, honestly, like, that doesn't hurt my feelings. I am their mother. I am going to do everything I can to make sure that my children are going to be okay in this world. Earning a living, it's just so incredibly hard. It's a lot of work. Supporting yourself, much less a family, is hard work. Corporate America does not care about you. The government does not care about you. And so there is no way that I am not going to do everything I can to make sure that my children have every advantage and they are not helpless. Like, there's no way I'm not going to do everything I can to make sure that my kids as adults feel like they have some level of control in their hands. And that's the other thing too, right? Because I hope that my kids, and they fall in love, get married, have children. I want them to have the blessings and the joy of having their own families, which when they were younger, they've all said that they wanted. I mean, think about how high the divorce rate is, and yet people still get married. people still look for love because we were made for relationships. And so knowing this, I need to prepare my children to be able to pay for all of that. I mean, as the adult in their life, why would I not prepare them for being able to support and provide for a family? Because I know that most people want a partner. I know that they did. And at a young age, what clue could they possibly really have about what it feels like to support a family? And so I don't think it's controlling. The way I look at it is I'm older, I'm wiser, and I'm preparing them for things that they may not even be able to see yet themselves. That's it. And number 6, my children did end up earning full tuition merit scholarships to college, and they did it without sports. And so then there are people who are like, how dare you control their majors given that they earned those scholarships? And that is because I homeschooled them. I am the one who orchestrated their education, implemented their education, and helped them to earn those scholarships. My kids, they didn't even know that those scholarships existed. Like, I'm the one who did all of the research, who figured out what they had to achieve in order to get those scholarships, and then I made sure that the work was done. Them earning those scholarships, it's as if they came into a large inheritance. If at the age of 18, my kids somehow inherited a large sum of money, do you really think I would just hand it over to them? Like, don't you think that it would be wise for me as a mother to counsel them and invest it for them and not let them waste it so that it could benefit them for the rest of their life? Although I am fully aware, and I know that there are a lot of parents out there who are not good with money and who are financially abusive to their children, but that is not me. I have never taken a penny from my kids. And so because of that, even when it is their money or their scholarships, my kids have always listened to me and they have been very respectful. And for that, I am thankful. So with all of that, I know that there are a lot of people, Americans and even people like from other countries I've heard of. It is difficult to understand why I would do such a thing, such as limit my children's choice of college majors. And I completely and fully respect every single parent's decision as to how they decide to raise their children. But the one thing that I urge every single parent, no matter where you are, every single parent, especially here in the US, is that we need to think about and we need to commit that we will prepare our children for adulthood. That as they leave our home, that they will either have a skill or a plan as to how to obtain a skill that is going to help them to earn a living wage and pay the bills. Because we know how hard starting adulthood is. And so it is our responsibility to prepare our kids for that so that it is not such a struggle for them. It's also our responsibility to keep working on ourselves and to improve ourselves and to learn and grow so that we can earn our children's respect, so that our children will listen to us. And so with that, I leave you with Proverbs 6:20-23. My son, keep your father's command and do not forsake your mother's teaching. Bind them always on your heart, fasten them around your neck. When you walk, they will guide you. When you sleep, they will watch over you. When you awake, they will speak to you. For this command is a lamp, this teaching is a light, and correction and instruction are the way to life.